In this last clip of our RAM module, we'll take a quick look at some memory software utilities. These fall into two main categories: viewing how our memory is set up, which we can do with certain tools built into the operating system, as well as with third-party programs that often provide more detail, and testing our memory modules, which again can be done with the OS or with the help of third-party tools. One of the tools we can use in Windows for inspecting our memory configuration is the Task Manager, specifically its Performance section shown here. We can see the total amount of memory installed, 16 gigabytes, as well as how much is in use, 6.5 gigabytes. So on this computer, we have a lot of headroom. We can see that the rated speed is 3200 megahertz, that 2 out of 4 slots are in use, and that the form factor is DIMM, as we would expect for a tower PC. If we click the little link at the bottom that says Open Resource Monitor, we'll see this display, giving us more detail on the Memory tab as to which programs are using the most memory. We also see a handy color-coded bar graph. The green portion is memory that's in use and measures at 6702 megabytes, which is close to the 6.5 gigabytes value reported by Task Manager. The dark blue and light blue parts of the bar chart are available for additional programs and data files. The dark blue is used temporarily to speed up the file system. Now that's all fine, but what if I'd like more information, such as the RAM module manufacturer and model number? Well, a number of third-party tools are freely available for such purposes. This screenshot shows RAM-MON, but there are several others that are fine, such as CPU-Z and HW-Info64. We see towards the top left that the transfer rate is 3192 megatransfers per second, which matches the 3200 megahertz speed that Windows Task Manager reported. In the middle area, we can see that the manufacturer is Corsair. It is not ECC memory, and the module part is CMK16GX4M2B32000C16, if we're interested in looking that up online for even more details. Scrolling down reveals that the module voltage is 1.2, and note also the section on timings at max frequency, parentheses, GDEC, which reflects the speed the module would run if adhering to the Joint Electron Device Engineering Council, or GDEC, which originally set 2133 megatransfers per second as the base speed for DDR4 memory. Now we know that our modules are rated higher at 3200, so on this machine, even though the motherboard's automatic setting used that lower GDEC value, I set the speed at 3200 manually in the UEFI's memory setup area. If you make changes like this and your computer starts acting strangely, you can always throttle the speed back to the lowest stable value. I just like getting all the speed I've paid for. Incidentally, if we click the Export/Copy button at the bottom, we have the option to save a text file with all this information in it, which might be handy for reference purposes. Now, this probably won't be on the exam, but another real-life tip is to check with your motherboard and RAM manufacturers to see if the combination supports either the XMP or EXPO standards. If so, you can turn on the relevant standard in the BIOS or UEFI setup, and the motherboard will query the RAM and run it at the maximum safe values provided by the manufacturer in the form of that XMP or EXPO profile. So what about memory testing? Now, whether you're running a test that comes with the OS, like the Windows Memory Diagnostic shown at left, or a diagnostics program that comes from the computer manufacturer, these tests perform many read and write operations and may make multiple passes across all the memory locations to do a really thorough test. These RAM tests can take hours, but we can often specify how many passes we want to perform and whether to do a quick test or a full test. I suggest running the test with the computer warm. RAM failures often occur at high temperatures. And by the way, you'll almost always need to reboot your computer to run a memory diagnostic. Well, here's what that Windows Memory Diagnostic tool looks like after a reboot. Sorry for the wobbly screenshot, but I had to use my camera. Note the options for basic, standard, or extended testing, and the option to change the number of passes or cycles that the program performs. Once a test starts running, we'll see a screen like this, showing the overall status, 2% complete here, and whether any problems have been discovered. The test will reboot the computer when it's finished and present its findings to the user. Now we also have access to memory diagnostics from the computer manufacturer. Here's a screenshot of the hardware testing tool for one of my laptops, which I downloaded from an HP support website. I've checked UEFI memory test, and when I run it, I'll see a screen like this, again giving me some info about which test is running and which pass we're on. There's no particular advantage to running a manufacturer's RAM test versus the Windows one. Either should detect a faulty RAM module. And with that, we come to the end of this module on computer memory.